Okay. I'm excited to get to chat with you, Tom, because this season of The Witcher is just as epic as ever. I mean, and this is even just like half the season, right? So, so where do we pick up
I
coming
know,
into
right?
this new
It's
season?
a hell of a season, right? Like we've been so excited to unleash it on the
Finally,
world.
right?
You know, yeah, yeah. And you guys have only seen half of it, so yeah, there's more to come.
Where do we pick up with this new season?
Well, like yeah, so like as fans of the series will know, in terms of the core story of our Geralt and Yennefer and Ciri and Jaskier, like we all know all through season one, we were waiting for that core family to like come together with the timelines, and then we know what happened towards the end of season two. So they're together, but then what happened with Yennefer, which I thought was an amazing storyline to explore. Obviously, there's an element of betrayal that's happened there with the core family, and everything that Yennefer's been through, which I think is incredibly played by Anya Chalotra, but everything she's been through in terms of her search for motherhood, So I think yeah, I think certainly when we got the scripts all that time ago, I remember it being a page turner. Like I couldn't wait to see how they navigated that. And so I know the fans will be interested in that as well. And then also, yeah, but obviously, like in my storyline in the elves, um, we've been really lucky in terms of what Lauren Hisswick and Steve Gaub and all the heads at Netflix have done with our storyline in terms of that, yeah, that exploration, like we saw in season two of having like the idea of an elven heir, which like yeah, fans of the lore and fans of The Witcher will know is it's a really unusual thing. Elves are only fertile when they're young. So the fact that we had an heir, but it was murdered by humans, is kind of earth shattering and huge for the elves. So yeah, what the guys will be seeing, what you guys will be seeing in this season is we're a new prospect. We're a different breed to what we once were, certainly.
Yeah, and there's a number of conflicts going on between the various factions within the series, and there's currently the crisis, I guess, is that's happening for elves, as well as there's not much food, but also you want Siri. You guys really need Siri to help. What's
Absolutely.
what else is there a further explanation they gave you of what's currently in crisis for the elven community?
Well, I think like right back from because I'm one of the lucky few who have been part of the world of the continent since season one. And I think like if you just look at the elves through line, one of the things that always attracted me as an actor to The Witcher and to Philip and to the whole world of the elves is really what they represent. And if we look at fantasy as a genre, like almost similar to biblical parables and like the parables of the holy books, whichever religion you may be. The elves certainly, if you do your research, the elves Sikowski actually took from Irish mythology, from Celtic mythology. They're in like all the mythologies that I heard as a child growing up. And yeah, I'm forever saying in interviews like what I think is when fantasy is done right. Um, Fantasy is a wonderful genre because it has the scope for fucking anything to happen. At any moment you can literally have a dragon come through the window. But when it's done well, it's when it focuses on the relationships between the characters, and it's a metaphor for the human condition. And I think that yeah, the subject of the elves, as it is in Irish mythology, but certainly here as well, is the elves that they're a metaphor for um, they're a metaphor for racism. They're a metaphor for indigenous cultures who offer out the hand of friendship to incoming races, like we've seen across the globe thousands of times, and then the oppression and the persecution, and the sort of the annihilation of like old races who are so similar, who are so similar to the invaders, and in the elves, it's only the point of our ears, you know. So I think yeah, I think the elves are yeah, I think they're a great metaphor, and certainly as an actor, it's one that I'm proud to be able to be a part of playing.
This season, we saw the arrival of Robbie Amell as Gallatin, and he creates some more chaos for the elves. How does his arrival shake things up for them?
Well, like first of all on that, what a massive shout out I'd love to give to Robbie. Like what an actor to join our series at the time he has, and yeah, like Robbie obviously, like fans will probably know Robbie from his own work, but what he brings here, and in the role of Gallatin, who is again like a bespoke role. I like Robbie's such a great actor, you know, and it's a pleasure to be able to say what a great guy he is as well. But yeah, like that role of Gallatin, you know, like again, like I think it serves such an important purpose to the storyline of the elves. If you start to see the elves, like I always have in my own creative process, speaking as an Irishman, but like if you see the elves as that metaphor of an oppressed race, um, you know, how many times in history, and it doesn't matter if it's the Irish or the English or whether it's, you know, Native Americans with white invaders or any other, you know, we could go on forever. But you know, when you know the elves, I love the way that Sapkowski has written the elves in terms of he shows how the elves have a slightly different mentality to what like human um the go-to for humans are. Like the elves are always about the collective. They're almost like kind of like a left wing kind of socialist ideal, you know. But then even within that, when you're fighting like right, when you're fighting like an oppressive race who because of the word of the Witcher, like humans breed faster than elves, so they just it's like a mass they can't deal with. Like of course, then we've seen so many times in human history, then the oppressed themselves falling into conflict amongst themselves, civil wars or whatever, you know, because you know that expression that I always love. I always love bringing out like at comic cons or whatever. The thing of one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. You know, I think that's so spot on. And so I love the way that Lauren and the team explore even that even that kind of internal crumble in season three, where you have someone like Robbie who or Gallatin who is as much an elf as me and Francesca, fighting for what he believes is right, and he's not wrong. You know, one of my favorite expressions in the world is nothing in life is black or white. Everything is a shade of gray. Everything's a shade of gray. So everything that you see Robbie seeing in volume one, and I don't want to give too much away by revealing any of the season two, but everything you see Robbie say to myself and Francesca, I could argue it, but he's not wrong, you know. But yeah, I think the search for Siri is something that really starts to heat up in this certainly in this volume and in this series. But it's because, you know, Siri's the key to everything, isn't she? You know? So yeah.
Well, you touched on it maybe a little bit, but the chemistry between Francesca and Philivandrel is a little, not a little, quite palpable. They may not always, though, be on the same page, but they both seem to have the elves' best interest in heart. Would you say that her search for Siri may be, though, more important than their other interests at this moment?
It's a really good question. Um, I love the fact that you pick up on that, that like for Philivandrel and Francesca, whatever their dynamic might be at any moment between the two of them, exactly spot on. They always have the elves' best interest at heart, always, um, even if they come from slightly differing places, you know. And that I think was one of the things that as an actor I was very fortunate. I got to play with and explore during season two. Obviously, like yeah, so season one when you meet Phil Evangel, he's the king of the elves. Not that he chose the name, but he is. And then come season two, we hear that there's been that battle with Calanthe, um, magnificently played by herself. But yeah, so Philovandel's lost he's receded or he's given away the kingship, and now Francesco is in charge, but he retains he's from a royal family, so he retains almost like her. He's like her right hand man. Um, but yeah, you see that thing of maybe too many cooks spoil the broth. But yeah, as much as I shout out um, the quality and the talent of someone like Robbie Amell, um, more than equally, like yeah, like we were very lucky to get hold of an actress like Misha Simpson in that role. Um, and yeah, yeah. I remember I was uh, I was fortunate enough to be in the position. I was involved in Misha's casting when they were down to the
Really?
last two Sophie Holland's office. Um, the last two actresses, yeah, they called me in for what's called the chemistry read, where you go in and you play opposite. Yeah, and yeah, Misha just yeah, she's a star. Like she has it all. She has it all. Mm.
I'd love to know about the process it takes for you to get into character, whether it's emotionally or the makeup and the prosthetics as well.
Me personally,
Yes.
well, I mean, like I always say that I think acting's like a funny profession, in that like I think sometimes acting is a difficult thing to talk about because it's a very personal thing, and I think all actors, all of us, will work in slightly different ways, and certainly I do, and also dependent on the scene, So I've always been incredibly aware because of its roots in certainly in its roots in my own culture in Irish mythology, the elven tales, and what they represent. I've always been acutely aware of the responsibility of taking on a part like the leader of the elves, and everything that means. Um, and so yeah, I've always tried to. I've always treated the part with like it's a real honor to be part of. Not obviously it's a huge honor to be part of the world of something like The Witcher with this incredible fan base, but also yeah, the roots of what the Elven storyline is, and so yeah, I'm one of those actors who it, not as a rule, but where it feels like the text deserves it, like some texts to play them right, it feels like it almost warrants some element of sacrifice. Like you have to give some part of like your soul to do it justice. So scenes like in season two when myself and Misha myself and Francesca have a baby, and then the baby is killed and stuff. Like playing scenes like that. Yeah, they're the times I become one of those weird actors who like I remember the time we filmed that awful scene where we find the baby in the crib in season two. I remember it took us a whole day to film. It only takes about 10 seconds of screen time. But yeah, I remember that day. I remember sitting there with like I had my AirPods in. I didn't leave the set the whole time, and in between in between takes, I'd just be in this room with this sort of bloody crib and blood everywhere. And I remember I'd just be listening to really. I must have looked like a madman, but I was listening to like the most horrific soundscapes in my ears. All this horror sounds and like babies crying and stuff. Because whether the final outcome is 10 seconds of screen time or whether it's an hour is irrelevant. It's like for that snapshot, you're seeing, and that's when it is a like I say, like the wonderful thing about how this is written is about the relationships. It's not about trying to play an elf. It's about playing a person and trying to play that moment of that horrific discovery. I'm not a parent yet, um, and I can't imagine what it must be like to lose a child. But yeah, you try and go into a place. I think, or I try and go into a place where you have to try and, as much as you can, trick your own mind that what's happening is real. That's the only way that I can begin to try and play something with the respect I think it deserves. So yeah. So for a scene like that, I would work from the inside out, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, but all actors work in very different ways. And in terms of the
Sure.
prosthetics and the makeup, that'd be another story. Like Witcher has like fucking sorry, my pardon my Elvish, but Witcher has like an insane team working on the project, and Deb Watson, who's the head of hair and makeup, and her entire team are really are artists working at the very top of their game. So, I've just posted. If anyone listens to this on my Insta, I've literally just posted a few pictures of me in the makeup. So yeah, me and the amazing team that worked on me. They got that down to about 1.5 to 2 hours a day that would take to put on. Which you wouldn't think, right? Like a wig and ears, and then there's a few scars in season two, which the eagle-eyed fans will see, which is from the battle with Calanthe that we know happens between one and two. But yeah. Like I mean, it's so beautifully intricate their work. Like I have people working, like with cotton buds, earbuds. They're using adhesive for these ears that are fresh on every day. It's a new pair every day,
Oh
and they piece them
goodness.
on them. They're all like they got cast. They're molded for my ears, and then they come on like plain without any color, and then they use these. They put on these ears, and yeah, so they're using those cotton bud things with the adhesive to really carefully put them on. And honestly, like it looks, you can see in the pictures, it looks flawless. But then because the ears are latex, they have no color. They're like a neutral color. And so then the guys have this like it's like this box with it's like a it's a mechanical box filled with paint and a long hose and then the tiny little nozzle, and they spray it with like a blend of different colors to exactly match what my skin tone is. Um, like like with red, with pink, with whites, with yellows, with everything, and they do that with everyone who plays the elves in there. So everyone's ears are like an exact match for our own complexion. So yeah, they're artists. They really are. Yeah.
With Witcher being so popular, what has it meant to you to be a part of such an iconic franchise?
Oh, what a question. What a question. Um, like I've already said, um, so in terms of me personally and like my culture, my roots, getting the chance in my career to play not just an elf, but like the king of the elves is a huge responsibility and honor for all that it represents. But Jesus, in addition to that, um, yeah, my God, yeah, so what does it mean to be part of an iconic franchise like The Witcher? Um, I'm very blessed in my career. I'm 33 now. I came out of drama school when I was 2012. I studied at a place called the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London, and I've been very lucky in my career. Like I've played like a number of what they call like iconic roles in literature and stuff. But being on The Witcher, it's the largest project in terms of fan base and in terms of yeah, in terms of reach that I think I've been part of. A lot of my work was a lot of my work was in theatre, um, but like it's the most special thing in the world. Would be the truth. Like to be part of a yeah. You use the word iconic, but like it's iconic because of how much it matters to so many people. That's what's always got me. I remember like when I remember when our we were gearing up for the release of season two, and we were still like all in lockdown, that crazy time. And I remember as lockdown lifted, I remember a friend of a friend was traveling in Thailand and was sending me pictures of billboards of Witcher from fucking Thailand, and that blew my mind. But like, what's always like been the most incredible thing for me is that I've had the chance now to I started doing comic cons and meeting the fans and things, and it's incredible. Like it's incredible. It's incredibly rewarding without sounding too navel gazing and like a twat, but it's incredibly rewarding when you meet people who And again, it's something to do with the genre and to do with what I'm saying, the way that everything. There are so many parables for the human condition, like just like the holy books, fantasy. So I meet people all the time who are like who The Witcher has really meant something to, something deep. Whether it be like there's too many even to say specifically now, which is amazing. But yeah, I've met people who are like, this part of this book or this story or this bit of The Witcher really helped get me through this part of my life, or it taught me this or whatever. And it's like it's awesome. And we have like our fan base. Our fan base is amazing. Like I love our fan base because it's because of how much they care. Like they care. The only way that I can work as an actor is if I'm obsessed with the text. Otherwise, I won't be attracted to a project. I have to be obsessed and get those juices ticking. And the joy of meeting our fans is that they're just as obsessed as I am, and it's so cool. So yeah, it's the biggest honor. It's the biggest honor of my life.
What's next for you? Have you been working on any other projects while we wait a little bit to go into the season four? I'm sure of The Witcher.
Well, and volume two, and
Oh,
volume
just
two.
yes.
What else have I been working on? There might be a couple of things in the pipeline that I'm not allowed to say, but what else have I been working on? I have done that's coming out soon. I've just started to share a couple of trailers, um, but with like a wonderful director and a wonderful small cast. I've done a short film that will be coming out on the festival circuit pretty soon. It's called Water, and Water is a horror movie that it came to me at the perfect moment. It's a three-hander, but it's about three people, about three siblings who are all at different stages of mourning the recent passing of their mother. And like fans of mine who have kept in touch with me online will know that that's something very close to my heart. I lost my own mother just gone 4 years ago last month, and I just think that script again, like I said before, for me it's always been about like you have to have a reason as an actor to do a project. Like it has to say something to you, or you have to be able to read it in a way that ignites you and goes, I can do something with that, or that. Because what we do as artists, I think it doesn't matter what medium you work in. I think what we do is we hold the mirror back up to society. We're meant to show the world what the human condition is without judgment, but just to show it back, whatever facet that is, whatever like chink in the whatever like crack in the glass it is. We're meant to show that. And yeah, I'm excited about Water. I think it's a really well written piece, and speaking from someone who knows it was something that dealt with the subject of grief wonderfully well. So yeah, I look forward to getting that out there. Mm.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the wonderful work you do on our screens?
Oh man, that's a lovely opportunity to get. Only an extension of what I've just said, but like yeah, to all our fans, like you guys, we hear you guys all the time, and we love the care that you match us. So like you guys really spur us on and give us like yeah you get us out of bed in the morning. And yeah, it's the greatest honor of my life to be part of this world, and hopefully to do it some justice. And we hope to continue to do that into season 4 and beyond.